My beloved child, pause for a moment and lean your soul into this stillness. For what I am about to speak is not a gentle word that drifts past your ears, but a door-opening word that ushers you into a new life prepared specifically for you. You did not arrive here by accident. I drew you into this exact moment so you could hear the truth your soul has long hungered for. This is not merely a message, it is a divine awakening for those destined to step into a life without boundaries. You have lived too long inside the breath of the finite, inside limits you thought you had to accept. Inside the molds people placed on you, as if that were all you could ever be. But my child, you were not born only once, you were born twice, once in the body, and once in the spirit, when you step out of the realm of the finite and into the life I have prepared, and this very moment is the beginning of your second breath. You have felt this many times without knowing how to express it, the restless nights with no clear reason. The mornings you woke with the sense that something more was waiting for you. The days you looked at your life and knew you could not continue living in the same old pattern. That restlessness was not instability, it was an invitation. It was my invitation calling your soul to rise from the life you once knew into the life that is now too small for you. I know you have walked through wounds, losses, and stumbles that made you believe you were smaller than you truly are. But hear this with all your heart, none of those things have the authority to define you. They belong to the breath of the finite. But I am calling you into the breath of the infinite. You once believed you were living a single life, a life of responsibility, effort, and striving to find your place. Yet you never realized that within you there has always been a part that did not belong to this earth, a part that longed to be ignited by heavenly truth. You called it intuition, a feeling inside, a vague inner pull. But I call it the mark of the second birth. Every person who belongs to me must walk through this moment, the moment they realize they are not simply a body surviving, but a soul awakening. And when the soul awakens, everything that once frightened you loses its authority. You no longer live as one limited by time, memories, or what has happened before. You live as one carrying my life in every breath. I know there are times when you feel weak, not because you lack strength, but because something within you has grown larger than the old frame you have been living inside. You think you are shaky, but I say you are preparing to be born again. Every birth passes through tightness, and you are feeling that tightness now. The pressure you sense is not from the world, but from the new life within you demanding more space. You are not breaking, you are expanding. You are not losing direction, you are stepping out of old paths. You are not being drained, you are being separated from what no longer fits your new season. You are not abandoned, you are being called out. When I tell you that you are born twice, I am not speaking of a symbolic idea, I am speaking of a real process. In your first birth, you entered the world with natural breath. In your second, you enter your heavenly calling with sacred breath. In the first, you carried limitations. In the second, you carry limitless life. In the first, you learned how to survive. In the second, you learn how to walk in destiny. Not everyone accepts the second birth, because it requires leaving behind every old frame. But you, because you are hearing these words, you are standing in the timing I have appointed. Look back at your years and see how you survived things others thought would break you. How you found peace while everything around you remained unsettled. How you wondered, how am I still standing after all this? It is because you carry my life, not merely the breath of the earth. Those who are born only once break easily. Those born twice rise beyond what they do not understand. And you, my child, who have lived many moments as one, born twice even before you recognized it, now is the time for you to know it fully. The breath of the finite once imprisoned you in feelings of scarcity, scarce time, scarce strength, scarce opportunity. scarce hope. But the breath that comes from me births a life not measured by such things. Life without boundaries does not begin with what you can do. It begins with knowing to whom you belong. When you know you belong to me, you no longer fight to hold your place. You simply stand in the light I give. You no longer compare yourself to prove your worth. You simply live from the breath I placed within you. And that breath will carry you farther than all your natural efforts ever could. Feel this deeply. You are no longer confined to the borders of what people have said about you. You are no longer confined to the memories of past seasons. You are no longer confined to old failures or the silent disappointments you endured. You are stepping into a kind of life where the old no longer touches your identity. What once hurt you becomes only a memory. What I am doing now becomes your new breath. And when you step into that breath, you will know with certainty you were truly born twice. I want to bring you into a wider picture of what it means to be born twice. Because if you understand this only through emotion, you will miss the depth I want to reveal to you. Imagine your soul as a seed placed beneath the soil. The first birth is when the seed falls to the ground and takes shape. The second birth is when it breaks open to rise. To the human eye, a seed cracking looks like destruction, but to heaven, it is the sign of true life. And you are in that very moment, the moment when the seed within you is breaking so it can bloom. The things that have unsettled you recently are not signs of damage, they are signs of emergence. You are not being broken, you are breaking forth. You once held tightly to the old shell because it helped you survive many stormy seasons. But now I tell you this in love, that shell is no longer your home. It once protected you. But if you stay there, you will slowly wither inside. The second birth always requires you to leave the safety of the old shell. And I know that makes you afraid. Because birth always happens in darkness, in pressure, in tight spaces. But I want you to see it with new eyes. Darkness is not a sign of being lost. It is the room where life is shaped. No seed rises in the light. Everything beautiful begins in the dark. If you are walking through a dark hallway, it is not because you are going the wrong way. It is because you are about to break through the surface. I also want you to understand this deeply. Every movement in the soul begins with a shaking in the roots. No one sees the roots tremble, but all life begins there. When I touch your roots, your old beliefs, old wounds, old limitations you once thought were true, you will feel as though your entire life is being shaken. But the shaking is not to topple the tree, it is to allow its trunk to grow farther. I do not shake the roots to weaken, I shake the roots to release. You once believed you could never change the deepest parts of yourself, but you did not know that I am the one who touches the places you cannot reach. You see only your surface, but I see your depths. You are standing in a profoundly sacred moment of your journey, a moment when the soul realizes that unless it steps into the infinite breath, it will always be suffocated by the finite breath. The breath of the world teaches you to push, to compete, to outrun others, to always be right, to always be strong. But my breath teaches you to stop, to release, to stand truly, to live honestly, to lean on me. These two breaths cannot coexist in one soul. You must choose. And in this season, I am placing before you a life-altering choice: continue living by the finite rhythm, or step into the infinite rhythm I give. One rhythm wears you down little by little. The other makes you more alive each day. You must also understand that when I call you to be born again, I am not only transforming your soul, I am transforming the way you see life. You once saw life like a desert, always walking, always striving, always searching for rare water just to survive a little longer. But I am changing that vision. I want you to see that you are no longer in a desert. You are being led into a garden. The desert teaches you to survive. The garden teaches you to live fully. The desert makes you shrink. The garden calls you to open. and the way you see life determines the way you walk through it. You are no longer a wanderer searching for breath. You are one who carries my breath in every step. See this as well: a river never begins with waves. It begins with a hidden spring beneath the earth. And so does your soul. You want change to appear quickly. You want the explosion, the acceleration, the visible growth. But I work differently. I let the infinite waters seep into your heart slowly and steadily. Those who do not look closely will say, "Nothing is happening." But I look and say, "Everything is beginning." When the waters within grow strong enough, they will break through the soil and rise. I do not want you to live by the panic of loud beginnings. I want you to live by the certainty of quiet beginnings. What begins quietly endures longest. I need you to pause and hear this deeper than anything else. You are not becoming something new. You are becoming yourself. You do not need the pressure to outperform others. You do not need to prove you are worthy. You do not need to strive to be loved. When you are born again, you do not rise by effort. You rise by nature. You rise because I place something within you that no one can take. You rise because the infinite breath makes you light. You rise because true life pushes you forward. And I am watching you rise, little by little, even when you do not yet see it. My child, the strongest metaphor I want you to engrave in your heart is this: you are like a door destined to open at the exact moment, and no human strength can open it early or close it once I have said now. All this time, you thought you were closed because you were not enough, but the door was held because the time had not yet come. You are not late. You are kept. You are not behind. You are being prepared. When the moment arrives, you will hear the turning of the hinge in your soul, not the sound of opportunity, but the sound of destiny. And you will know instantly that it is the hour you step into the infinite breath. Let me draw your soul into a stronger rhythm of response. For the infinite breath I place upon you is not given merely for you to know, but for you to walk in. A sacred calling is never complete when it is only heard. It is fulfilled when it is answered. I do not speak only to comfort. I speak to lead. The season of being born again is not a beautiful concept. It is an entirely new way of living. And to step into that way of life, you must learn to recognize and respond to what I am doing while it is still small, still light, still subtle. Those who walk in the infinite breath always begin by practicing sensitivity in the smallest things. When your soul learns to respond quickly to me, you will no longer be pulled by the noise of the world. Observe the movements within yourself calmly and without judgment. When a gentle thought passes through and nudges your heart toward what is right, that is my touch. When you feel a quiet pull to pause, listen, or reflect, that is me as well. You do not need to wait for a great proclamation. I am training you to recognize my movements even in the faintest ripples. Just as someone learning music begins by hearing the lowest notes, the one who is born again must learn to hear the deeper vibrations beneath the surface. When you grow familiar with that lower register, you will recognize my voice easily among the countless sounds of the world. I also want you to take a new step in your inner journey. Step out of your old reflexes. Old reflexes are fear, self-protection, panic, withdrawal, silent avoidance, or chasing what never belonged to you. But the infinite breath does not operate in reflex. It operates in conscious response. When a situation tightens your heart, pause for a moment. Let my breath cover the rising emotions within you. You are no longer someone who lives to react. You are one who lives to discern. And discernment is the mark of maturity for the one living the second life. I know there are days when you feel you are not progressing quickly enough. But true maturity is not measured by speed. It is measured by depth. Every time you choose peace over argument, that is a step of the one who has been born again. Every time you refuse words that weigh down your soul, that is a step. Every time you choose truth over habit, that is a step. I watch every one of those small steps and say, this one is living by the new breath. I do not require you to transform in a single day. I ask only that you step in this day. And tomorrow, I will walk with you in tomorrow. To go deeper into the life without boundaries, you must allow yourself to release what once drained your breath. Letting go is not weakness. It is a spiritual capacity the truly strong all possess. Release the wrong expectations. Release the comparisons that harden your heart. Release the old judgments that pinned you to your past. Release the need to prove your worth. I have never loved you because you were perfect. I love you because you belong to me. And when you dare to let go, the space within opens for me to place the infinite breath inside you. And that breath will make you strong in a way that does not tire. I am training you to live as one who carries life from above. Those who breathe the second breath do not merely avoid darkness, they bring light wherever they step. Not by empty words, but by the peace that radiates from within. Not by spiritual display, but by an atmosphere that makes others feel at ease. Not by striving to do something great, but by being faithful to the things I have placed within your reach. When you walk like that, you become a living evidence that those who are born twice carry a different climate, a climate that makes even dry ground bloom. There are things I am placing in your heart that you do not fully understand yet. Do not rush to explain every rising feeling. Let them lead you back to me. When you feel the urge to do what is right, step. When you feel the need to remain still, pause. When you sense the need to move away from something, trust that your spiritual instinct is being sharpened by me. For those who live in the infinite breath do not live by anxiety, they live by sensitivity. And that sensitivity is my gift when you open your heart beyond its old limits. Now I want you to hear a gentle yet unmistakable call respond. Do not remain at the doorway of the second life while your soul thirsts for something greater. Step in. Step in through surrender, not through striving. Step in through trust, not prediction. Step in knowing you are no longer alone in your inner battles. I am pressing lightly on your back so you do not retreat into your old shell, while expanding the space before you so you can rise fully. This is your hour, the hour to leave the limited breath and live by mine. And finally, I want you to hold this truth deeply. What I call you into never exceeds your capacity. I do not place you in anything your soul has not been prepared for. You have reached readiness not because your circumstances are perfect, but because your inner life has been renewed by me, piece by piece. And when I call, you have the right to say, I am ready. Not perfectly ready, just truly ready. The rest, I will do. And now, as your soul has been awakened and your heart has begun to recognize the rhythm of the infinite breath, I want to place upon you a new kind of authority, an authority only those who have been born twice can carry. This does not arrive like a flash of lightning, not loud or showy. It comes like oil seeping into the fibers of your soul, causing you to stand firmly in a way that is gentle yet profound. This oil does not make you proud, it makes you radiant. It does not make you noisy, it makes you steady. It does not make you superior by the standards of the world, it makes you rise according to how heaven sees. I do not grant authority for you to dominate others, but for you to rule over the limitations that once held you down, not to control circumstances, but to govern your spirit within every circumstance. This is a silent kind of power, yet one so strong that darkness must retreat when you step into the room. You have walked through the season of opening, the season of refining, the season of purification. And now it is time for you to step into the season of carrying life, carrying light, carrying new breath. Those who are born twice do not live just to survive, they live to overflow. Not through effort, but as naturally as breathing. When you stand in my light, you will find that you become a refuge to others without trying. People will feel my stillness resting upon you, feel safety when they sit beside you, feel truth when they hear you speak, feel new breath when they come near the presence you carry. That is the mark of one who has been born in the breath of heaven. But before you bring this outward, I want you to hold something tightly. The second life is not a performance, it is identity. You do not need to pretend to be strong, nor hide your fear, nor display your faith for others to believe you are changing. None of that is necessary. What I want is honesty. When you live truthfully before me, the infinite breath will flow without obstruction. Those who are born twice do not make themselves holy. They allow me to sanctify them from within. And that process naturally produces a gentle authority no human effort could ever manufacture. Know that from now on, you will not walk as one waiting for approval, but as one already sealed by the Father, not with the signature of people, but with my signature upon the forehead of your soul. That signature declares, "This one belongs to me." That signature is a shield when you pass through difficult places. That signature is a mark that keeps the old things from attaching to your new identity. When the world tries to place its labels on you, my signature will rest over every old definition and remind you that you no longer live by what people say, you live by what I speak. Those who are born twice do not chase titles. They live from the name I have given them. I also want to bring you into this truth. Though you have stepped close to the second life, there will still be voices calling you back to the old breath. The voice of fear, the voice of memory, the voice of familiarity, the voice of wounds that seemed healed but sometimes still sting. But my child, those voices are not a new direction. They are only echoes of the former season. Do not return. Do not look at the old cramped places and convince yourself they are home. Your home is not where you endured. Your home is where I am leading you. You were born the first time into limitation. You were born the second time into grace. And grace never pulls you backwards. I see within your soul a new softness, a new openness, a new ease in receiving what I speak, and that is the clear evidence that the infinite breath is sinking deeper. From now on, the things you choose will not resemble the choices of your past. You will choose what is right even when what is wrong feels easier. You will choose what is bright even when what is dim feels familiar. You will choose what is true even when what is false looks safer. I do not expect perfection. I expect honesty in the process. And I will strengthen every honest step you take. Those who are born twice are sustained by me day by day, hour by hour. Now I want to place upon you one final calling, not a calling of pressure, but of maturity. Step out as one who carries my breath. Do not step out as one who is trying. Step out as one who belongs. Do not step out as one afraid to fail. Step out as one who knows they are held. Do not step out as one still half believing. Step out as one certain that true life is flowing within them. Do not wait for the perfect conditions to move. Move. And I will shape the conditions around your steps. You do not adjust to the environment. The environment will adjust to the life I have placed in you. Finally, I want to wrap your soul in a tender truth from this moment. Your breath is no longer merely the breath of earth. It carries the rhythm of heaven. It carries life that crosses borders. It carries the authority of one awakened by the Father. It carries the freedom of one who has left the old limits behind. It carries peace that does not come from the world. It carries strength that does not come from striving. It carries light that does not come from trying to shine. All of this is growing within you, not loudly, not hastily, not demandingly. It grows like a seed watered by heaven, and that seed will become a tree. That tree will become a place where others find shade. For those born the second time do not seek new life only for themselves. They become life for the souls still waiting to be awakened. just as you once waited for me. I want to lead your soul into a deeper layer of what it means to be born twice. For this truth does not merely touch your emotions, it reaches all the way into the very cells of your being. There are things that can only be understood after you have walked long enough to know that natural breath alone will never satisfy you. I have seen the moments when you were confused, when you felt empty even while everything around you seemed fine. I have seen the hours when you felt like you might burst because you could not name what you were missing. And I know it was not weakness, it was your soul thirsting for the breath that belongs to heaven. Not every thirst is a sign of lack. Some thirsts are signs that you are about to be filled with a new source of life. In these recent days, I have seen your soul becoming more sensitive, as though every emotion grows deeper and every thought carries a longer echo. Do not fear that sensation. It is the sign that you are being opened from within. Those who are born a second time always walk through a stage where everything feels magnified. Yet this is not exhaustion, it is growth. I am sharpening the inner place where your discernment rises, so you can hear even the smallest invitations I send. When I open someone's spiritual eyes, they begin to see life in a different hue, a hue that is solemn, beautiful, and true. Spiritual truth does not make you heavy, it makes you deep. And that depth is the foundation of your second life. I also know there are days when you look at your life and see no visible changes. But my works never begin in the places you can easily observe. They begin in the layers you assume are silent. A seed does not rise because of noise. It rises because of the silent tension of life within it. I am pulling your soul out of the suffocation of the old breath, the way a person draws a curtain away from a window so that light may begin to enter. That light is not harsh, it is warm. It softens the places you thought had dried. It awakens parts you believed had died. When that light touches the inside of you, the battles you thought you could never overcome begin to lose their strength naturally. The journey of spiritual rebirth is not a journey of walking fast. It is a journey of walking right. That is why I do not require you to run. I want you to learn the new rhythm I am placing within you, a rhythm that is light yet steady, slow yet firm, quiet yet strong, like water that does not rush but has the power to break stone. The breath I place in you will soften the rough edges of your mind. All urgency comes from something other than me. All endurance comes from me. So when you feel yourself slowing down, do not mistake it for regression. It is my way of aligning your soul so you do not bring old breath into a new life. You may not realize it, but I have seen the moments you have changed even when no one else noticed. The minutes you chose forgiveness while your heart was still hurting. The hours you chose peace while your emotions were still storming inside. The moments you chose to trust me even when no explanation remained. Those choices are the new rhythm beginning to merge with the current of your soul. Not everyone has the courage to cross the threshold between the old birth and the new. But you have crossed not because you were strong, but because I carried you, and that is why I will not allow you to go back. When I invite you into a life without borders, I do not invite you with sweet promises. I invite you with healing truth. I know your deepest wounds, the words spoken to you that still echo today. The disappointments you hide because you think no one would understand. The desires you buried because you thought you were unworthy of them. I have seen them all. And that is precisely why I call you to be born again, so these things cannot hold you anymore. No one can step into infinite breath while clinging to the small things that once confined them. And because I love you, I have not allowed those things to live in you longer than they should. In your second life, you will look back at your old journey with gentler eyes. You will understand that some wounds did not exist because I forgot you, but because they became the cracks through which my light could flow. Not every pain is a failure. Some pains are doorways. And you are standing at one of those doorways now. I want you to understand clearly that the second birth does not erase your past. It interprets it. Everything you have walked through becomes testimony and foundation for what is being built. The shadows that once made you tremble will become stories you tell with peace, not with tears. The failures that once made you blame yourself will become wisdom you use to lift others. Let me say this deeply: the infinite life I give is not a moment of emotional elevation, it is a new order of the soul. That order is built through surrender, not striving, planted through trust, not control, sustained through inner quiet, not outward noise. When your inward life is arranged, you will see the outward world fall into its proper place. So do not keep trying to adjust the world, let me adjust you. When you stand rightly, the world loses its power to rotate you according to its chaos. Feel this: the infinite breath does not come like a sudden storm that startles you. It comes like a warm current moving gently into every layer, every corner, every silent place within your soul. It does not give you a moment of excitement, it gives you a lifetime of endurance. It does not give you a flash of brilliance, it gives you a steady way of living. Those born a second time do not live from surface brightness, they live from the stream within. And that inner stream is what I am opening in you now, a quiet flow that cannot be stopped. I know there are moments when you look at the future and wonder whether you can truly live this new life. I hear the small fears whispering, what if I become weak again? What if I fall? What if I cannot keep this new breath? But my child, this breath did not come from you, so you cannot lose it. It came from me, and I do not change. This breath does not place a burden on your shoulders, it places a new foundation beneath your feet. And when the foundation changes, every step you take becomes different, even the weakest one. There are things I do within the soul that you only recognize after you have walked far enough to look back. These things do not arrive loudly or brilliantly, and they do not overwhelm. Yet they quietly shape you into a version of yourself you never imagined you could become. I see the way you have learned to stand still where you once only knew how to run. I see the way you choose calmness where the smallest disturbance once sent your heart trembling. I see the way you have begun to lean on me, instead of leaning on supports that easily collapse. These changes did not happen in a day. They happened as I seeped into every part of your soul, like warmth soaking into frozen hands. No one notices the very moment warmth begins to spread, but everyone recognizes the moment the hands become fully warm. This transformation is not the result of brief effort, it is the fruit of long surrender. You have allowed me to touch the corners you once locked away. You have allowed me to gently pry loose thought patterns you once believed were unchangeable. You have allowed me to reshape the way you speak, the way you think, the way you see yourself. It has not always been easy. There were days when you wanted to retreat because you feared pain, feared losing direction, feared not knowing what would happen if you let go of the old. But even trembling, you still chose to draw near to me rather than run from me. That choice alone is undeniable evidence that you have stepped into the second life. And in this new life, I want you to feel something deeper. Everything that belongs to me grows in ways no one can predict. The second life does not unfold linearly. It unfolds through inward expansion. You may not see flowers yet, but the roots are reaching deeper. You may not see the door swing open yet, but the doorway is widening from within. You may not see dramatic change in yourself, but something great is forming through the smallest details. Life from me does not arrive through pressure, it arrives through saturation. It soaks in little by little until the soul is reshaped in the most enduring way. In this season, I am also teaching you to look back at the quiet moments you have survived, not to give yourself credit, but to recognize the truth: I never once left you to fight alone. In the hours you lay down with questions that had no answers, I sat beside you. In the mornings you rose with heavy eyes after long nights, I placed peace upon your shoulders. In the moments you thought you were breaking, I lifted you from within so you could still stand. You believed you overcame by your own strength. But the truth is that you overcame because of what I held in place. This is the deepest meaning of the second life, not that you live by your strength, but by the life I breathe into you. That life is also teaching you something else. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. There are things I allow to depart not to leave you empty, but to make room for something greater. There are relationships, plans, desires, and versions of yourself that you held onto simply because they were familiar. But I saw what you could not see. They could not support you in the new life. I do not remove what belongs to you. I remove what would cause you to fall later. One who is born twice must walk lightly, and I am the one making you light. I also know there are moments when you feel as though you are walking a hallway in between, no longer belonging to the old place, yet not fully seeing the new. This in-between always unsettles the soul, but it is where I do my greatest work. A child is not formed once it is born. It is formed in the darkness of the womb. The second life is the same. It does not begin in radiant light. It begins in quiet. Quiet for the roots to anchor. Quiet for the breath to steady. Quiet for the soul to realign without force. Do not fear this quiet. It is the cup of my hands holding you. As you live within the breath of the infinite, you will notice a profound shift in how you face difficulty. Before, hardship arrived and you were swept into it immediately. Now, hardship arrives and you know how to create a small space between yourself and the trouble, a space wide enough to hear my voice before hearing fear. Instead of reacting, you discern. Instead of panicking, you stand still. Instead of striving to prove anything, you lean into what I speak. This is clear evidence that my breath is moving in you. Those who live by the infinite breath do not seek control, they seek surrender. They do not seek victory over others, they seek rootedness. They do not seek to solve every equation, they seek to keep the heart unworried. I want you to understand something important. The second life does not shield you from every challenge, but it keeps you from being swallowed by them. Just as a swimmer does not need to avoid waves to survive, they only need to breathe correctly, so it is with you. When you breathe according to my rhythm, you will not sink, even when the waters are deep. The world believes that strength is retaliation. I say strength is maintaining peace in the storm. The world believes victory is rising above others. I say victory is rising above yourself. And I see the days when you win in the way heaven defines victory, even when no one else can see it. In this new flow, you will also begin to recognize a gentle truth. Everything that belongs to me returns at the right time. It does not require pulling, striving, or pleading. Grace does not come because you have earned more. It comes because I desire to draw nearer to you. Blessing does not come because you have done enough. It comes because you have opened your heart enough. Opportunity does not come when you knock loudly. It comes when you are ready to step lightly. Those who live by the infinite breath do not chase blessing. Blessing finds them. For my breath carries a magnetic pull, and everything aligned with heaven is drawn toward such a life. Another transformation is taking place as well. The softness you once mistook for weakness is becoming your greatest strength. The world thinks strength is sharp, hard, fast, and forceful. But I tell you, strength is soft, steady, deep, and quiet. True strength does not live in loud voices. It lives in a heart that has been touched by me. Those who are born twice are strong in places no one sees. Strong in forgiveness, strong in endurance, strong in humility, strong in the ability to stand when circumstances demand you collapse. And that is the very strength I am building within you. There will come a time when you realize that what I am doing is not only transforming you, but transforming the way you influence others. People will come near and feel peace. They will speak with you and feel lifted. They will look at the way you overcome and find hope for themselves. This is not because you try to do anything. It is because the new breath within you naturally flows outward. Those who are born twice do not merely carry life, they carry atmosphere. And that atmosphere is what I am creating within you today. I want to bring your soul to the final stretch of this journey with a deep comfort. Because sometimes, when nearing a new door, fear rises even more than it did in the dark. For new light reveals parts of yourself you once hid, and you worry you are not enough to enter. But I speak this to you with all tenderness. No one is born again because they are ready. They are born again because I am near. I do not wait for you to be perfect before bringing you into infinite life. I bring you into infinite life so that I may perfect you myself. When you step into the new breath, you do not have to prove your worth. You only have to receive the worth I placed in you from the beginning. And that very receiving will become your greatest strength in the season ahead. In the coming days, I will show you the true reasons behind things you once did not understand. Every closed door, every person who left, every unfinished plan, every dream that seemed to break halfway, each will begin to shine clearly under the light of the infinite breath. Not everything that happened was beautiful, but everything I allowed was necessary. And you will see that rebirth is not only stepping into the new, it is looking back at the old with eyes that have been washed clean. When you look at your past through the infinite breath, you will see that nothing in your life was ever outside of my hands. No moment was meaningless. No tear was wasted. No sob was ignored. You are not the product of those imperfections. You are the product of the one who carried you through them. And as you enter the second life, I want you to walk with a lightness you have never felt before. Lightness does not come from circumstances. It comes from no longer carrying the burdens that once bent the spine of your soul. You no longer need to carry others' expectations. You no longer need to carry the memories of self-blame. You no longer need to carry invisible comparisons. You no longer need to carry the image you built to gain approval. All of those belong to the finite breath. You have moved beyond them. I have taught you that value does not lie in the eyes of others. It lies in the breath I placed within you. And when you walk with that value, life stops being a performance and becomes a revelation. There is one truth I want you to hold tightly. Infinite life does not make you lose your true identity. It makes your true identity rise to the surface. The deepest parts of you, the kindness, the purity, the perseverance, the love once buried under pain and self-protection, will now rise without being suffocated. You will find yourself speaking at the right time, loving the right people, forgiving in the right places, blooming at the right moment, not because you try, but because my breath in you moves naturally. True life does not need effort. It only needs the right environment. And I have created that environment within you. I need you to recognize this as well when you are born again. You do not only change yourself, you change the atmosphere everywhere you go. A presence that carries the infinite breath always has an effortless impact. Others will feel peace near you not because you say the right words, but because you carry the right climate. They will feel seen, heard, and safe, because your soul no longer emits the noise of insecurity. Those who are born twice do not need to be loud to influence. They only need to be present. For I am the one within them, and I am the one who shakes the atmosphere. May the Lord continually remind you each day to live in His faith and His love. Please follow and turn on notifications so you do not miss the sacred and meaningful messages He desires to speak to you. May God bless you. Amen.